For the next 20-odd minutes, I will be unpacking headline-grabbing events within and beyond Namibia. A warm welcome to our global audience on a Tuesday evening in Namibia's capital, Windhoek. Thanks for making a date with us. I'm Michael Madimba. Tonight's bulletin commences from Kenya's capital, Nairobi, where the Africa Climate Weekend Summit entered its second day today with deliberations on a host of climate and environmental issues. Vice President Nangolo Mbumba, together with some Namibian delegates, are attending the summit. In his address earlier today, Vice President Mbumba noted that Namibia is no exception to the impact of climate change, owing to its geographical location and arid climate. Let's now listen to the Vice President as he expounds on this topical matter.
Africa, as a continent, is particularly vulnerable to the impact of climate change, despite contributing minimally to global greenhouse gas emissions. Developed nations must fulfill their commitment to provide financial and technical assistance to African countries. Adequate funding is crucial to support adaptation and mitigation efforts, improving structural resilience, and promote sustainable development. Technology transfer and capacity building initiatives can empower African nations to implement climate-friendly solutions and maximize their potential for clean energy generation and sustainable agriculture. As Africans, we need a stronger voice, unity, and wield more international influence to bring around the necessary change on the continent for the betterment of our people if we want to realize, and I quote, the Africa we want, in line with Agenda 2063.
Staying with the Africa Climate Weekend Summit, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, in his address, called for climate justice, particularly for low-emitting continents such as Africa. Now, the Secretary General called for developed countries to present clear and concise roadmaps by 2025 on how to fund climate change programs. He further called on them to keep their promise of contributing $100 billion for climate support to fully replenish the climate fund. Let's have a listen into a portion of the UN Secretary General's address.
Every person on Earth must be covered by an early warning system by 2027 by implementing the action plan we launched last year. And 6 out of every 10 Africans currently lack access to these systems. The early warning for all Africa action plan launched yesterday under the leadership of the African Union will be critical to addressing these needs. And more broadly, we need a course correction in the global financial system so that it supports accelerated climate action in the context of sustainable development. And we can't achieve one without the other. And this means an international financial system that is able to provide an effective debt relief mechanism that supports payment suspensions, longer lending terms, lower rates. And it means recapitalizing and changing the business model of multilateral development banks so they can massively leverage private finance at affordable rates to help developing countries build truly sustainable economies.
Back home, land grabbing remains one of Okakarara's major challenges, according to Mayor Asnath Yazukuka. In an interview with Primetime News earlier today, during the Okakarara annual trade fair, Yazukuka stated that while the town is significantly growing in terms of development, some of its approximately 1,500 residents are still without land and resort to grabbing any open area that is available to set up homes for themselves. Our Primetime News producer Lydia Pitu is on the ground in Okakarara and brings us this exclusive interview.
We are coming to you live from the 15th edition of the Okakarara Annual Trade Fair. And with me, we are joined by the mayor of the town. We are joined by Honorable Asnath Yazukuka. Thank you so much for joining us, ma'am. Tell us about the first 2 days of the trade fair. What's been happening and how many exhibitors do we expect to have this year?
Yeah, this is the second day of the 15th edition to Okakarara Trade Fair. And yesterday it was not that good since the people were starting to move their things in. But today I can see the movement is okay. I'm very happy.
Talk to us a bit about Okakarara and what it has to offer in terms of services for the residents of Okakarara.
Yeah, Okakarara is a very small town. We are trying our level best to upgrade it to a town since it is a town council, but we want to get we don't want to be at a town council. We want to move to a municipality, so we are trying our level best to move Okakarara to a stage where we want it to be. Yeah, when you come to Okakarara, recently it was before independence. Most people was living with livestock, so we tried to move the livestock out, and we compensated the people so that the livestock can be out of town. And we are there. We are moving. We are having built it, which is in a stage where it is finished, just to get electricity. We are having a plot where ShopRite Mall is going to be built. So we are moving, and we are having a CBD area. And I think this CBD area is for the investors to come and to use this opportunity to make Okakarara a bigger town.
So in terms of development, there is, although it's still in stages, some development is taking place.
Yes, some development is taking place here.
How many inhabitants do you have in Okakarara?
We are having roughly 1,500 roughly. Yeah, we are having secondary school, primary school, and we are having a lot of private schools. And yeah, we are there.
Ma'am, talk to us about the informal settlements that you currently have in Okakarara. How many people do you have? We're referring specifically to the Okakango.
Yes, Okakango is it's since independence. Okakango was there, and it was very small. But now with land grabbing and most people coming to Okakarara, it gets bigger day by day. And we are having another one, which is Orunjo Romakuya. Orunjo Romakuya is it's an area where Build Together was supposed to build their houses, but due to land grabbing, they turn it out to a location which is an informal settlement. This area was partly serviced. It was just it just needed electricity to be completed, but now we are having informal settlers there. But we made provision for these people at least to move to an area which is called Matutura.
What are some of the challenges that you have in Okakarara?
Oh, challenges like people not paying their bills. And it's due to not having jobs. We are having less places where people are working. We are only having the schools and those. So the others, they do not have work. So most of them are doing these kapanas and selling their own stuff, salons and all that. So it's a bit difficult when you are in a town where you don't have malls and bigger things to rely on.
What do you look forward to for the town? What are you excited about? And why would you encourage Namibians to come out this weekend and support the town of Okakarara during the trade fair?
Yeah, the reason why I want people to come to Okakarara is especially for our revenue collection. You know, after trade fair, I know we will get some revenue, which will be good for us. And another thing that I want people to come to Okakarara is that we are having a lot of plots for businesses. So I would like investors to come and at least to buy those plots and change it into something valuable for the residents to benefit out of it.
Thank you so much for joining us, ma'am.
Thank you so much, and welcome to Okakarara. Enjoy the stay.
That was the mayor of Okakarara, Asnathia Kukuga, joining us at the annual Okakarara Trade Fair.
In our continental segment, we now turn to Central Africa, where Gabon's school leader vowed to restore civilian rule through free, transparent and credible elections after a transition and amnesty of prisoners of conscience. This after being sworn in as interim president on Monday. In a post-inaugural address, General Bryce Oligingema said the elections would be the stepping stone to handing power back to the civilians, although he did not give a timeline. Oligi said he was seeking the participation of all Gabonese core groups to draft a new constitution which will be adopted by referendum.
Ngwema said he will be instructing the future government to consider ways of amnestying prisoners of conscience and facilitating the return of all exiles from abroad. Olingui, 48, who is head of the elite Republican Guard, led a coup that brought the curtain down on 55 years of dynastic rule by President Ali Bongo Ondimba and his father Omar, who died in 2009. Bongo's all-star came just moments after he had been proclaimed victor in presidential elections last month, a result branded a fraud by the opposition. Olingui said he was surprised at foreign criticism of the coup. The military had been prompted by a desire to avoid bloodshed following an electoral process that was obviously loaded, he said. 5 other countries in Africa, Mali, Guinea, Sudan, Burkina Faso and Niger, have undergone coups in the last 3 years, although their circumstances are different from Gabon's. The 3 Sahel countries, for instance, saw military takeovers after elected presidents failed to stem a bloody jihadist insurgency. Reporting for Primetime News, Diana Kauta.
Stay tuned for the business segment. Welcome to the Primetime Biz segment, your dedicated source for the latest business updates. Now, the Okakarara Trade Fair 2023 is well underway, with exhibitors streaming to the town for this year's edition. Okakarara Trade Fair Society's Head of Administration, Evaristo Kavikairua, noted visitors can expect a range of exhibitors to appeal to all and sundry at the fair, as well as live performances by big personalities in the Namibian music business. The Okakarara Trade Fair commenced on Monday and will conclude on Saturday.
The trade fair in Okakarara brings the services closer to the residents of Okakarara and the surrounding areas. As we all know, Okakarara is a small constituency. It has about 4 settlements, which are Okakarara itself, Okonjatu, Okamatapati, and Koblenz or Koshituo. So what we basically try to do with the trade fair in Okakarara is that we would like to bring the services, be it from the central government or private sector, closer to the residents within the Okakarara constituency. So basically we have government agencies, ministries and departments that come out to provide services that people would only get in Oshiwarongo or otherwise in Windhoek. We also have the banks and other stakeholders, financial services providers and so forth that would come closer to their clients just to brief them with changes within their contracts or whatever new products that would be introduced in within their sector that they work in and so forth. So basically the key is to provide services and bringing them closer to the residents of Okakarara.
Moving on. Minister of Mines and Energy Tom Alwendo says the prices of oil and the future will determine if the companies that have discovered oil in the Orange Basin will continue with oil production. Alwendo, who was speaking at the SWAPO Party Roundtable discussions in Keetmanshoop on Sunday, said oil prices fluctuate. Currently, the price of oil is over $100 per barrel, while other times it goes down to $20 per barrel.
Alwendo, who was speaking at the SWAPO Party Roundtable discussions recently, saying oil prices fluctuate. Currently, the price of oil is over $100 per barrel, while other times it goes down to $20 per barrel. If it goes down to $20 before these companies have decided to actually invest, they may also decide to put their decision on hold because they will want to sell the oil to someone else, and if the price is that low, they might decide not to extract the oil, but so far we are positive that will happen, Alwendo stressed. He said Namibians should understand that there is no oil production happening yet, and it might take another 5 years for production to take place. Alwendo noted that Namibian government, along with Total and Shell, have agreed to establish an oil and gas institution for Namibians to get the necessary skills to ensure that they participate in the oil and gas industry. Alwendo further said other services that Namibians can provide to the new industry include logistics, transportation, engineering services, accounting and legal services. Reporting for Primetime News, Diana Kauta.
The warmer temperatures throughout the country are a sure signal of spring upon us. Let's now turn our attention to the weather forecast for a comprehensive outlook for tomorrow's weather conditions. Welcome to Sport Planet, your ultimate destination for all things sport in action. Football headlines this segment. On loan Manchester United forward Mason Greenwood trained with his new teammates at Spanish La Liga club Getafe for the first time today, watched by several thousand supporters. The Madrid side acquired 21-year-old Greenwood on Friday until the end of the season, despite him having faced allegations of abuse involving a young woman. In a video message on X, the social media platform formerly known as Twitter, Greenwood said, "Hi Getafe fans, it's Mason here. I'm so happy to be here and I can't wait to get started." Greenwood had been suspended since January 2022 by Premier League club Manchester United over the allegations, but prosecutors dropped charges including attempted rape and sexual assault in February. United said last week the club had decided that after a 6-month internal investigation, Greenwood should rebuild his career away from Old Trafford. Staying in La Liga, Villarreal coach Quique Setien paid the price for a slow start to the season as the La Liga club announced his sacking earlier today. Now, Setien's side lost 3 of their opening 4 games and stand 15th in the table. Setien arrived at the end of October 2022 after Unai Emery quit suddenly to take over at Aston Villa. Stay tuned for your sports roundup. And here's a Tuesday wrap. Much appreciated for tuning in to tonight's broadcast. Do make another date with Primetime News tomorrow. A kind reminder that to be abreast with happenings within and beyond Namibia, do follow the prompts on your screen by subscribing to our channel. Also interact with us in the comment section, not forgetting to like, share our channel with a wider audience. We will continuously strive to bring you relevant and informative content. On behalf of myself, Michael Medimba, and the dedicated creators behind the curtain, it's good night.